I'm Derek Joyce and I'm here with Paul O'Murda, and this is I'm Not the Expert, but this is a podcast where we'll discuss everything from the most complex ideas that we know nothing about to the simplest ideas that we probably know nothing about either. So put the kettle on, get comfy and join us. So come here to me. I was watching Clash of the Titans.
The original
Christmas.
or the remake?
No, the 1981 version. I've no interest watching the remake. My God, I wouldn't be bothered.
Ray Harryhausen?
The Ray Harryhausen one. I was watching,
savage.
and we're going back this before
I haven't
Christmas.
seen it since I was a kid though. Honestly, haven't seen that since I was a child. Like,
I hadn't seen it in ages, and I was watching it because one of my students is really into animation,
okay.
and specifically into stop motion animation.
Oh wow.
And she'd never
The
heard.
lost art.
She'd never heard of Ray Harryhausen.
Seriously?
Yeah.
Jesus.
And so
Okay.
I was looking at that so I could go on and specifically find clips on YouTube that I could send her the URL for, and she could look at them.
Mm.
And I was watching Clash of the Titans, and it gave me the love I have for Ray Harryhausen's work that he did with
Yeah.
Sinbad and Clash of the Titans, and he did
Jason and the Argonauts.
Jason and the Argonauts. He
Yeah.
did Mighty Joe Young in 1949,
Didn't
and
know
actually,
that was
yeah,
a remake as well. Okay.
and 1949, and they got an Oscar for it. And I looked it up, but he was uncredited, like, so he was an assistant on it.
Oh, okay, right.
So he did
early in his career.
Yeah, let me tell you about Ray Harryhausen.
Yeah, please.
Ray Harryhausen was born in 1920. In 1933, he watched King Kong. You know the black and white King Kong film?
Yeah.
He
I was
watched
a-
that,
yeah.
and he was sold. That was it. That's what he
That's
wanted
what he wanted
for
to do
his
for
whole
the rest
life.
of his life.
Yeah.
Cool, yeah.
He went to the University of California, and when he graduated and went on through his career, he ended up going back there to teach.
Right.
So he was that good. He worked with Willis O'Brien, who is the guy that worked on Mighty Joe Young in 1949.
Right.
Okay?
Yeah.
Now, Ray Harryhausen did a stint in the army in World War II.
Oh, okay.
And-
Well, yes.
And
As most people would have, yeah.
they were doing propaganda films for World War II, and he worked under a colonel, Frank Capra.
Frank Capra.
Frank Capra, the director who did It's a Wonderful Life.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh my God, one of my favourite movies.
Colonel
One of my
Frank
all-time
Capra.
favourite
Yeah.
movies, yeah.
He was an innovator in dynamation. Have you heard of dynamation?
I haven't.
Dynamation is how he used to do the real people, Jason, Sinbad, all these guys, Perseus, all that kind of thing.
Yeah, so the live action.
Yeah.
Yeah.
How he used to do them, fighting the monsters.
Yeah, the
So-
skeletons that
so
keep rising up from the ground.
What they
Yeah,
did
yeah.
was they'd film the fight scene, the real people fighting imaginary monsters,
Okay.
having looked at the script and looked at the storyboard and known what to do and when to
Choreographer,
throw a
yeah.
sword and when to block and when to thrust and all that kind of thing.
Right.
And they used to screen that on the background, say. And in the foreground, he used to do the
Exactly.
animation. So he could move frame by frame.
So like on a set, like you know, kind
Yeah,
of,
yeah,
like
the
on a
set would be-
tabletop kind of thing, and he'd have
Built in the foreground.
and he'd have that playing on a screen behind that.
Yeah.
Okay.
And he used to do it frame by frame and be able to move the character, the monster,
Yeah.
frame by frame. So
24 frames a second.
the Jason or Sinbad or whoever it was that was blocking the monster striking,
Yeah.
he could animate the monster striking.
Right.
Frame
in
by
sync
frame.
with what
In
he's
sync with
looking
what they were
at.
doing,
So he
yeah.
right, yeah, he played
So-
one frame at a time. Jesus.
That's why when you look at
And he invented that technique, didn't he?
he was one of the innovators.
Right. So one of the kind of pioneers of that technique.
Yeah. That's why when you look at all these films, and they're all really dated because now we do CGI and all that kind of thing, and it's seamless.
Yeah, but even having said that, I know, and I'm pretty sure it was Star Wars on The Mandalorian, I think, where they did a CG creature, but they added in that little shakiness and that little, you know, the kind of frame by frame you can
Yeah,
see.
yeah.
Like, you know, they always look like they're a little bit, I don't know, shaky is the word I'm looking. You know,
Yeah.
and they actually added that into the CGI model as a kind of a homage, a throwback to those kind of stop motion
I was about to say
scenes,
lots of the animators and content creators in movies and special effects and all that kind of thing always give a doff of the cap to Ray Harryhausen
Oh,
and
God,
all
yeah.
those guys.
Oh yeah,
yeah.
there's so many
There's
of them.
there's always
Going
always
back to
a
the
difference.
original Star
yeah.
Wars, I mean the Rancor monster from Return of the Jedi. I mean that is straight out of Harryhausen. It
Yeah,
really is.
yeah,
It's
completely.
so
Yeah.
Harryhausen, yeah.
But and if you look at it, Luke in it's a very contrived fight scene.
Oh, it is. Yeah.
Like he's fight. It's not like now on green screen where you'd have, say, a green tennis ball
yes.
hung down that you could
You
have
have something to
you'd
interact
something
with,
focused
yes,
on. Yeah.
yeah.
You have to kind of approximate where it'd be and
Yeah.
its distance from you if you're in a fight with it or whatever.
Yeah.
So they were always very stilted and very contrived looking scenes because they were contrived. You're
Yeah.
fighting an imaginary monster, you know,
Yeah.
that kind of thing.
That in reality is an 18-inch high puppet. You know,
Yeah,
basically,
which is
yes.
going to be put in months
Yeah.
later.
Yeah, and then speaking of which as well, like, you know where they done that technique, as you said, where they would back project the scene and then, you know, they're doing it with the miniatures. And again, going back to Star Wars, in case it hadn't worked out, guys, I'm a massive Star Wars fan, so I will reference Star Wars from time to time. The matte paintings for Return of the Jedi, have you seen those that were done on glass?
I have a collection of them all on my iPad.
Have you?
Yeah, I love them.
Yeah.
I love them.
I can't think of the artist's name. Sorry.
Yeah.
I will look it up and I'll post links to these and to some of Harryhausen stuff on the Facebook page after this podcast. But anyway, he painted hundreds of stormtroopers in that hangar bay. You know where Vader comes down the ramp of the shuttle
Yeah.
with the Emperor and
Oh yeah, they're walking through
Imperials,
the
walking through
new
ranks
the
of,
new Death Star that's rebuilt.
and
Yeah,
there's ranks of
incomplete.
stormtroopers.
Yeah.
The shuttle, the stormtroopers, I think some of the background is all painted on glass.
It is.
Yeah, no
All
one's
of it. And
actually there.
if you actually
and then the camera shot through it.
if you get a chance to look at that painting, there's a black gap beneath the shuttle where they put in the real ramp where the actors walk down.
Yeah.
But
and that's it.
as you're looking at the screen, to the right hand side of it, there's a big black area where a platoon of stormtroopers run into rank and file,
That's right.
and that gives the illusion that the
And
whole
they line
lot is
up
real.
with the rest of them. Yeah.
So that gives the illusion that the whole thing is real. Yeah, it's really, really clever.
Movie magic, folks. I love it. I love
really
all
well
that kind
done.
of stuff.
When I'm teaching my students, and they grew up with the newest animations, and it's
Your
all
Toy
done
Stories and your
it's all done on computer, even if it's 2D animation, like
Yeah,
it's flash animation.
Even South Park is actually done on computer, like it's.
Yeah, and South Park is brilliant. But I showed them a scene from Jungle Book, the original Jungle Book,
it's all
done by Disney. And it's where King Louis, the orangutan, and he sings his song.
Yeah.
I want to be like you. And I talk to my students and tell them about it. I was like, look at the movement. Like they studied the movement and the anatomy of all these animals. And there's a whole different, there's a plethora of monkeys, species of monkeys in his his throne room.
I think there's song names most of them, doesn't it? There's
I can't remember.
Yeah,
but
I'm sure it does.
They researched the movement of all those individual monkeys because they didn't attribute the movement of the orangutan, say, to the movement of a macaque or whatever it was. And it's and I'm talking to my students, I'm like, lads, look at the artwork, and it's not even the animation.
No,
look at the background.
Research and
the backgrounds are beautiful.
Oh God! Yeah.
And they're all my students look at me like I have 10 heads.
Do they?
They just don't. They don't
get the artistry that's gone into that.
Yeah, they didn't grow up with it.
They
didn't, and me showing it to them was probably the second time in their life they'd seen it.
Yeah.
And they didn't study it like I did. So yeah, they look at me understandably like I have 10 heads. Anyway, I want to talk to you about Ray Harryhausen did Clash of Titans, Sinbad the Tiger, Sinbad and the Eye of the Tiger, which was 1977. He did 1 Million Years BC, which was in 1966. Remember that?
That's another remake.
1 Million Years BC. Do you remember the
Shawshank?
Shawshank Redemption?
Oh God, yeah.
Do you
Who
what's
doesn't
the
remember the Shawshank?
what's your woman's name?
Rita Hayworth.
No. The one with the fuzzy britches. Remember, he breaks out. Andy Dufresne breaks out, and it's under the massive poster
Of Rita Hayworth.
No, that was the first one, but the second one is from 1 Million Years
Oh,
BC.
it is. Yes.
What was her name? I can't remember her name. I'm gonna look it up.
It's not Gina Lollobrigida, is it?
No, it's not.
She only died recently.
No.
Because I know the Stephen King short story that's based on is Rita Hayworth and the Shawshank Redemption.
It was just there.
Oh, sorry.
It's just in my head. And it's gonna kill me when I get
It's
it.
not Brit Eklund, is it?
Nope. Raquel Welch.
Raquel Welch, who also just died recently.
So it was Raquel Welch, was in 1 Million Years BC, and that was 1966.
And she just died recently, didn't she?
She did, yeah. Recently been the last couple of years, was it?
No, like
Was
3 weeks ago.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't know that.
yeah,
That's such a
she just
shame.
literally just passed away, yeah.
The seventh voyage of Sinbad was in 1958.
And did Ray Harryhausen also do Sinbad and Shazam?
No.
Because it doesn't exist.
And I didn't hear about this until yesterday.
Yeah, the Mandela effect, folks. I'm sure you've heard of it.
Look it up. It makes no sense
I don't
whatsoever.
remember a movie called Sinbad and Shazam. I don't know if anyone out there listening remembers a movie called Sinbad and Shazam, but apparently there's millions of people who do remember it, who clearly remember it, who've seen it, who can tell you what it's about, except the movie appears not to exist.
Just
Mandela
mass delusion.
effect.
Yeah.
Yeah, so anyway, sorry Dale, I interrupted you there in your...
Why is it
in your
called the
flow.
Mandela effect?
Because it originated with people being absolutely 100% convinced that Nelson Mandela died in prison, that they seen news reports about Nelson Mandela dying in prison, and they were utterly shocked in 1990 when he was released from prison alive and well.
That's nuts.
I know, it's mad, isn't it?
I was on Robben Island where he was imprisoned. Yeah. And the guy who was showing us around the prison and where Mandela, and he lived in such a small space, such a small area. He was a prisoner there. He'd been there for 28 years as well. Yeah. Like, no. This guy showing us around the jail.
And
somebody asked him, why in God's name do you want to come back here and do this?
Every day.
And he was saying, nobody else is qualified to do it.
Well, that's, absolutely true. And it is the same, like a lot of the tours up in Belfast and stuff are organised and operated by guys who are involved in the Troubles. And absolutely. They are the guys most qualified to, to
talk about it.
To understand it as well.
Yeah.
But not, and to give kind of both sides of things as well. So absolutely makes sense. But I can understand someone asking that guy, Jesus, why do you want to come back here every day?
Yeah, and he was the nicest guy ever. I have a photograph of him at home somewhere that I'm going to have to dig out.
Class. Well,
anyway,
in
1994,
right,
Beverly Hills Cop 3.
Oh my God.
Do you remember that?
I do, yeah.
Not a great film by any stretch of the imagination.
Is that
and
the
it was
one,
a poor end to the franchise.
Is that the one where the terrorists take over the fairground?
Yes.
Yeah.
Wasn't great at all. Ray Harryhausen had a cameo part in that.
No.
He was a bar patron. I was hoping he'd be Uncle Dave.
I don't remember Uncle Dave.
Right, Uncle Dave was these criminals took over this fairground. They were printing money, counterfeit money.
Yes.
In the fairground.
Yeah.
They were using the fairground that had its own dollars. They were using that to print forged money.
Right.
Forged US money. And they took Uncle Dave, who was the patron of the fairground.
Right.
They took him hostage. Right. And that's who Axel Foley had to rescue.
Right, okay.
I was hoping that would be Ray Harryhausen, but it wasn't. Ray Harryhausen was just an extra.
Just a guy in a bar.
Just a guy in the bar.
Like Dave Filoni in The Mandalorian,
Yeah. So he didn't do much from 1981. He had a couple of bits here and there. He had a couple of cameos, but it kind of, with the advent of more commercial animation. I'm not going to say better animation because his his animation to me
It's classic.
was just top.
Utterly
Yeah.
classic. The bit I don't understand though, Del, is, and I mean, here we go again with the Star Wars stuff, I'm sorry. But as you said, he worked up to 1981. So
No. He was involved all
Right.
throughout. But
Yeah.
I mean, if you look at his resume of films that he worked on, they were pretty sporadic. I mean,
Yeah.
we had.
I just find it kind of strange that at the time when he was still working, George Lucas was reinventing the wheel in terms of special effects, and yet Harryhausen doesn't have any work on Star Wars, does he? I mean, that would have been his ideal, I would have thought. Or, I mean, he would have been the ideal person to go to for the likes of kind of, like there's a lot.
And maybe he was a consultant. I don't know.
I don't think he was. I don't think he had any involvement.
I
at
don't
all.
ever remember his name being associated
No.
with it.
But yeah, all the guys at ILM who did the effects, absolutely all of them will mention Ray Harryhausen.
Yeah, everybody.
How he inspired their work, but I just wonder why he wasn't. Maybe he was asked, maybe he didn't do it. It just seems strange
I
that
don't know. I mean, there'd be some sort of something around if he'd been asked and refused it.
Yeah, it'd be like EMI turning down the Beatles, wouldn't it?
Yeah. So I don't know.
I just wonder, yeah, because I mean, like he was the best in the business, and the guys who were doing the special effects, who later went on to become ILM, they became the best in the business. It just seems logical to me that they would have got the best in the business to,
to actually come
actually
and
do
be
it,
the best.
Yeah,
I don't know.
Like
But
the guys
anyway,
that were doing it weren't the best,
Anyway,
but they became the best.
Ray Harryhausen died on the
Oh.
7th of May, 2013.
2013. That recently?
2013. He
Jesus, he
was
was old.
92 years old.
Wow.
James Cameron, I'm not sure if it was probably an interview and not a eulogy that he gave, but he said, and I'm quoting, "I think that all of us who are practitioners of sci-fi fantasy movies now all feel that we are standing on the shoulders of a giant."
Absolutely. That's
So
kind of what I was on about, yeah.
He didn't
Star Wars.
say of giants. He said of a giant.
A giant.
Yeah.
Oh, he was the
And
founder
I
of it.
thought it was a lovely.
That's why I was asking you earlier, like, if he actually invented that.
No, one of the
technique,
innovators.
because he is the modern father of that composition. Is that what it's called? Where they take two
mediums and put them together.
Yeah.
I don't know what
it's
to
all
call
digitally now, digital composition.
Yeah.
Back then it was just literally shooting two scenes and then gluing them one over the other.
Yeah, and then
on celluloid.
like
and
if
then
you look,
reshooting
if
it
you
on
think
screen.
about it, and they had no choice, but they had the footage of the film on the background, and then he did the animation. So
Yeah, and then
it was
they shoot
double
that.
recorded footage.
Yeah.
The background was double recorded.
Yeah. So basically, he was filming what was on the screen.
So that
and
must
his
have played
models
with the
in front of it.
resolution,
Of
because it was
course.
all 35mm film. It wasn't
Yeah.
digital. We
Yeah.
didn't have digital
And this
till
is it,
much
you know.
later. Yeah.
So basically, what you're saying is, basically, he was making cam rips, like literally filming the screen that was playing, as well as his model. So
Right,
yeah,
I have no idea what cam rips are, but
It's-
yeah, okay.
illegal pirated movies where
Okay.
you're actually
Yeah, I'm
watching
sure
it,
there was no
and you can tell
illegality
that it was
involved.
somebody sitting in a cinema filming it with their phone, and anyone that's ever seen one of those knows the quality is crap.
Yeah, but
But
this
that's
quality was amazing.
essentially what he was doing, but without, as you say, losing any resolution.
There's one thing that sticks in my head about the whole contrived nature of having a live action person fight an animated monster. Do you remember the scene, and I'm not sure which film it was in, it wasn't Clash of the Titans, where, was it Jason and the Argonauts where they fought all the skeletons?
Yeah.
Right,
Pretty
okay,
sure
so that's where it was, yeah.
Or may
but
have been Sinbad. Might
yeah.
have been Sinbad.
I think it was
No,
Jason and the Argonauts. I think it was. I'm
I
gonna
think he's done it in both, to be
Well,
honest.
anyway,
with you.
anyway.
Look, it doesn't matter.
the guy that cast the spell to get the skeletons to grow out of the ground and attack the actors. It's so contrived. If you ever see it on TV again, watch it and watch how stilted and contrived and painfully out of time the wizard's acting is with the monsters growing. It's horrible. Yeah, it's really
Okay.
hard. But anyway, that's stuff, right? So that was my little Ray Harryhausen doff of the cap.